Hey guys, second video of obscure 70s, 80s, 90s toys, and I really enjoyed doing the first one, and it got some pretty good traction. I got a lot of comments, and I got a lot of different toys that people actually wanted to see. So before we start this next video, I just want to say thanks again for watching, obviously, and most of the toys that I'm going to show you are, again, obscure, not really remembered toys. Because everyone talks about the big toy lines, everyone remembers those ones fondly, and with the recent release of the toys that made us on Netflix, it just seems to be a snowball effect, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. So again, I just want to talk about smaller toy lines that I remember as a child, and some of my friends remember that they reminded me about. So let's start with the first one, and this is going to be Army Ants. Army Ants are a discontinued fantasy toy soldier line from Hasbro in much the same venue as Muscles and Monsters in My Pocket. It featured an army of humanoid ants. Released in 1987, Army Ants were originally released as squadron sets on 3 or 8 figurines set on cardboard-backed blister packs. The individual soldiers had various themes, including officers, international soldiers, such as French Foreign Legion or English Soldier Guards, and aviators in the form of flying ants. Police Academy. Police Academy had 6 movies altogether in the series, and the cartoon, tethered to the toy line, debuted in 1989. All the characters from the cartoon were based off characters from the movie, and then all those characters became toys. There was 3 toy lines altogether, the third one subsequently ending the series, called Special Assignment Rookies. But I remember these fondly, especially the first 2 series. They had a lot of great characters, and there was even special toys. You could get handcuffs, I think there was a squirt gun, a gas gusher. Definitely a quick toy line, but also something that was fun and I guess kind of weird, grossy. It always reminded me of Ghostbusters. Come to think of it, both series or sets of toys were made by Kenner, so yeah, I guess that makes sense. Computer Warriors. This was only from 89 to 90, and this was a request from a viewer. Computer Warriors from Mattel only ran for 1 year, and it's one of the few toy lines that didn't really have a cartoon tie-in. Now, there was one pilot episode that was available on VHS that I vaguely remember. Basically, the story is that it's government spies. They sent in viruses into the government computer, and then antiviruses had to go in and do battle with them. So, it's a pretty cool-looking toys. I remember having a calculator and, of course, the Pepsi can. I think everyone had a Pepsi can. At the time, I wasn't aware of the VHS cartoon, so I wasn't sure if it was Transformers or what, but, still cool nonetheless. And Computer Warriors, looking it up now, they are pretty obscure. Not a lot of people remember them. I remember the tagline, "Expect the unexpected." I remember these little figures went pretty well with my Transformers. If you remember the Transformers Titans, where the pilot was also the head, I remember having those guys all in the same box. They were pretty close to the same size. Barnyard Commandos, 89 to 91. Now, I remember Barnyard Commandos fondly. My brother and I had a lot of them. You could slip on their weapons on top of them. They were squishy toys. They were pretty soft. They were from Playmates. They used to make the really young child toys. Basically, the Barnyard Commandos, the animals, ate radioactive goo or something on the farm. So then you had the rams versus the porks, and they had vehicles, what have you. And again, we used to collect these at Hills in the States all the time. But it's weird, I remember seeing a few French cartoons. I don't know if this was dubbed, but the commercial is obviously in English, but I remember the cartoon being in French, even though I'm not the strongest French speaker. But Barnyard Commandos, a really cool, obscure toy. Exo Squad, 1993. Now, Exo Squad was a guilty pleasure of mine, because in 1993, I was already 12 years old. That's getting to the age where you're starting to be a little too old for toys. You should be getting into sports, academics, girls. So this was definitely a guilty pleasure, and I'm glad, again, my brother enjoyed collecting these with me. You know, Exo Squad was the little figure went into the Exo Squad suit. There was a cartoon attached to it. It had some, you know, pretty deeper themes because the Neo Sapiens were created to do all the heavy lifting for the humans. Then they started to rebel, so there was a great story there. The toys were colorful. They were about 10-11 inches tall. Again, you could put the figure about the size of a G.I. Joe into the Exo Squad suit. They had firing missiles. There was a ton of characters, bigger vehicles. I remember having, geez, like 4 or 5 of these, and again, it was a toy that I really enjoyed. It just came later in life, and it had a great cartoon to it. You know, like now I'm thinking about it, like, remember Skeleton Warriors? I want to talk about them next, too. Rock Lords, 1986. I was 5 at the time. Rock Lords was a toy series that came out when I was fairly young, so when I think back to Rock Lords, I do have to do a little research to talk more about them because, you know, He-Man had those rock figures, and there was a tie-in to GoBots. That's why when I think about them, I always thought of them as Transformers being younger, but I remember having a bunch of these. We used to get these at Kmart and Zellers, and I don't know, it's like a novel toy line. It didn't last that long, but you know, they were built tough, they were built sturdy. Obviously the GoBot line, Tonka, but Rock Lords, you know, not a lot of people remember them. Even when I describe them, like right here, the two-headed one is mostly what people remember, but you know, I wish I still had a few of these. And that's going to do it for the second episode, guys. Again, suggestions for the next videos. What are some obscure toy lines from the 70s, 80s, 90s, even the 2000s? You know, I'm not judging how old you are. Just tell me a toy line that you really like that not a lot of people remember, and we'll take a look. We'll see if we can't find a commercial and a little bit of information. So, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Until next time, this is Loch Ness Monster, signing off.